That's true. That's true. I mean, I'm not one for autographs because I'm not sentimental like that, and I don't even have a wrestling collection anymore. I sold a lot of that stuff off, so because I just didn't have room for it. But as far as the pictures go, that's something I can look back on, and oh yeah, I met him before. We worked on the same show, and something to show my kids, and it's cool, I think, and. I mean, I was brought up that way in the business. I was always told, you stay away from them, leave them alone. They bring the big guys, the guns in and the superstars, and, you don't talk to them. You just leave them alone, and you know what, don't be a mark. But, how else are you going to learn? I mean, that's what for the longest time, I would stay away from guys, and I've worked shows with plenty of guys, wealth of knowledge. I wouldn't talk to them because I was brought in old school. You just, you don't bother them. You leave them alone. Don't mark out. When I started working with them, I started picking their brain and getting to know them. They're normal people. They're just like us. They're fans of the business. That's why they do it. I've learned so much. It's just like, a light bulb went off, and I was like, I had so many wasted years because, I wouldn't talk to these guys. And it would be funny because a lot of the guys that would tell me not to mark out or not to talk to them, they would be the ones that had them off, in the corner somewhere, cutting up and talking to them and stuff like that. But they tell, you leave them alone, don't mark out. And they'd be the ones in conversation with them. I found out that, you know what, they're normal people. They're just like us, and they're fans. So they like to talk wrestling. They like to give back. And that's where I'm at now in my career. It's not about how much more can I learn. It's about how much more can I help the young guys and how much can I give back to the business, because I've got more years behind me than I have ahead of me, and I want to leave something behind that's good and positive. And I've learned from some of the best, and that's the only way you get to know is by hanging out with these guys and talking to them. And they don't care about taking a picture. Most of them. I've never had one guy. Well, I'll take that back. There's been a couple guys that had a problem with it, but most of the time, super cool. They're having a good time. I've never had a problem, so I love to meet them. I love to take pictures with them, and I don't care if you want to call me a mark. Call me a mark, because, yes, I am.
Hey, Troy?
Well, so...
I'm sorry, Zane, if you don't mind, I got to ask Troy a question while it's on my mind, if you don't mind.
Go for it, buddy.
Hey, Troy, so, after 27 years, man, like you said, you got more years behind you than you got ahead of you and stuff. But when you do a show like Heroes and Legends and stuff, man, you got these young guys. This might be their first or second time being on the card. They're surrounded by all of these names. And then they're on the show with a guy like you that they probably, grown up watching and stuff. Does it ever really get to you and stuff and you see these guys, they're like, yeah, man, I remember when I was a kid, my dad used to bring me to come see you all the time, et cetera, et cetera. Like, have you gotten to a point now where when some of the young guys or wrestlers approach you and say something like that, it really blows your mind?
Yes, it does. It makes me think, man, I have been because to me, I don't feel like I'm 42 years old. A lot of times I don't act like I'm 42 years old. A lot of people say that how whatever age you enter the business, that's the age you stay. I've heard Colt Cabana say that several times, and others, they say however old you are. Like, I got in the business when I was 16 years old, so I'm still like a 16-year-old kid trapped in a man's body. I feel young, I feel great, and I like to have fun. I'm not serious all the time, and, I don't have a negative attitude about everything. I mean, sometimes I do have a negative attitude, but I try to remain positive, and I try to portray the positiveness. And, when I see these young guys, and they say, yeah, I used to watch you when I was a kid, and I'm like, are you serious? Am I that old? And I think about it, I have been doing this 27 years. But, then it feels good, that it breaks the ice with the kid, and you know what? They have respect for me, and then it's the ones that come in and think they know everything and don't have respect and think the world owes them something that I have a problem with.
So Troy, when are we going to see the Troy Miller Training Academy? When are you going to start training guys? Are you going to do like some guys and become a promoter or a booker? What's next for Troy Miller, man?
I'll never be a promoter. I've seen too many people. I mean, the headaches that involve with promoting, there's no way in the world. Jason Maples, Heroes and Legends promoter, I've seen him for years struggle, and struggle until he finally, he made it happen for himself. But it took a long, hard road. And I've had friends that try to run shows here and there, and it just, I've never seen anything good come out of those. So it's something that I won't even attempt to do. The only way I would do it is if the show was bought, and that don't happen very often. I want to make sure all my guys are taken care of beforehand and make sure everything is in order before the show even happens. And that takes a lot of work, and it takes, it's something that I certainly do not have time to do. And as far as training, I do have a guy that I've trained right now. His name's Lennox King. He is the current ICW heavyweight champion. He has come a long way in a short amount of time. He's just got that natural gift. And, when I seen him, he had it. He was like me, I think, when I started. All I needed to do was be in the ring, and everything came to me. I've watched wrestling so long and so much. I studied it, and that's how he was. He has studied it. It wasn't like, I got him in the ring, I told him to hit the ropes. He knew how to hit the ropes. I didn't have to show him. He just has watched it so much and studied wrestling. He knew how to hit the ropes. So a lot of the steps that were taken out of, like taking flat back bumps, everything, perfect. No problem. He's been, taking bumps out in the backyard like I was. So, he just needed to be in the ring. And that's the way with the training. I was like, dude, I can show you a million things, but you're not gonna, just, when you go out and train and just repetitive. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it's like, that's what they said. They were like, I think Kevin Sullivan said it. They're putting, like the NXT, it's like they're just creating robots. It's like they're just mass producing robots to do the same thing over and over and over. There's 100 different ways to take a bump. You don't have to take a flat back bump every time. You don't have to punch somebody the same way as everybody else does. Lennox King, he's just one of them guys that, he just had to be in the ring, and that's what I told him. I was like, you just need to do this. I can show you a million different things, but it's not going to make any sense until you're out there in front of the people working. That's the only way you know how to work is when you're doing it. So, as far as his training was, it was very minimal. And we just let him learn on the fly in the ring with me. We had one of the hottest feuds going in ICW last year, and he just grew out of that into being able to take what he learned working with me, working with other guys. And, he's went on to main event with big name guys now, and he's wrestled major stars in this business, and he's only been wrestling like 3 years. It's amazing. And ICW, they're getting ready to start a training school. They have the building. They just have to do some renovations to it. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be the head trainer there. And, once it gets up and running, we're going to bring people in and we're going to show them the right way to do things. But as far as, people got to find their own niche. You can show somebody, like I said, a million different things, but they got to learn how to do it for themselves. And I'm not going to beat somebody over the head with, this is the only way you have to. There's a million different ways. So that's just my philosophy on the business, and it's going to be fun. I haven't been in the ring that much, though, lately, dude. My DJing has just exploded, and it's been crazy, but it's been a lot of fun. And you know what? If I can go out and entertain a crowd without having to take bumps at this point in the game, I kind of am leaning more towards that, but my heart is always with the business. So if I can, during the week train, help people better themselves, better their careers, and then on the weekends, DJ too, and then, I'll work some shows in here and there. Like I'm making time. The beginning of the year is going to be slow. I don't have too many gigs booked, so I'm going to get back in the ring and I'm going to make my rounds, while I can.
Well, Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I was going to ask you about the DJing gig and stuff, man, and ask you, what does Miss Liz think about that? What does your wife think? Because she actually, in my opinion, she was the best part about Trey Miller was the fact that she would walk with you to the ring. So now that you're not taking as many shows, taking as many bookings as you were before and stuff, and now you're DJing, how is that going for the missus at home?
Well, the missus at home, she misses it. But, she's busy with Brody. She's got a full-time job taking care of him. And, it's, she likes being a stay-at-home mom, and she likes selling her Mary Kay, and She's still doing her thing with that, being very successful, and it's amazing. My DJ company that I work for is like super successful. It's like we're nationally ranked. We're in the top 5 in the state. I mean, we are just so busy. We're like slammed. It's crazy. And you know, it's fun though. I mean, I get out there and I entertain and I interact with people, and you know, it's just like being a showman in the ring. It's just I don't have to take the bumps, and you know, it's a lot easier on the body, and the paychecks are pretty nice, and it's that's a big factor right there. I mean, I've never been tipped in the wrestling business, so I have been, but we can't talk about that right now. That's the show. That's for a different show.
I'm sure that you haven't had any hot dog paydays DJing either.
No, they usually feed me steak and stuff like that. So, you know, the chicken is always good, too. I can't complain.
Yeah. So you never answered my question. At this Heroes and Legends event, who are you most looking forward to meeting yourself?
Most looking forward to meeting myself. Vicky Guerrero. I think I did say that. Yeah, Vicky. It's going to be, you know, she was married to Eddie, who is like the be-all, end-all of the cruiserweights. And, you know, he was one of the, I mean, he just had everything. He had the charisma. He had the ability. He could talk on the mic. He wasn't the biggest guy like me, but he put it all together in a package where you believed everything that he did and everything that he said. Eddie Guerrero was the man. And, you know, Vicky, when she got to, it was just, she had like legitimate, like, she had to go away heat. And that's what it was at first. You know, everybody was like, they didn't want to see her, and it was like bad heat. But then she turned it into where, I don't know, she was just like amazing. And I'm looking forward to meeting her. It's going to be, that's like one of the persons that I want to meet the most.
She's legit one of my favorite heel characters over the last 10 years. She did her job so well. She did. Like I said, at first it was bad. It was negative heat. I thought, you know, it was the go away heat where nobody wanted to see her, but she turned it, man, and she really like came into her own. And when she came into her own, she rocked it, and she was like I think she was the highlight of SmackDown for many years. Okay, well, in case Sign Guy doesn't come on while you're still with us, because I'm not sure how much longer you've got with us, if you can, Sign Guy would request that you punch Raven for him because Raven owes him $10 or $20 or something like that from years ago. So I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just letting you know that Sign Guy will want you to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure I can pass the message along.
Yeah. Okay. Do that for us. Do you have time to hang out with us longer, or do you need to get going?
I think I need to get going. I got to finish watching this Cub game. They're making me mad, and they're down now, and it's just not looking good. Okay.
Well, Troy, please make time for us. Once we get switched over to Wrestling Nerdcast, obviously always one of our favorites, guests on here, and I consider you a personal friend, and I'm really happy that we've gotten to know each other better over the last couple of years.
For sure, guys, and if it wasn't for the show, I never would have got to meet Huck.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good thing. He's a good dude.
It's always a good thing to meet me.
And, you know, I've been honored to have been the most requested guest, and maybe we can make that a going trend on in the future. Anytime you guys need me, just give me a holler. I'll do my best to be there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Troy. Franchise, have a great evening.
Hey, you guys do the same. Undisputed Wrestling Show. It's been real. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys.
Love you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, Huck. What you got coming up this weekend? You had mentioned something about working on Friday night.
Man, let me tell you something. This weekend right here is going to be action freaking packed. Friday night, I'm in Merrimack, West Virginia, for Mega Wrestling up in West Virginia stuff. Wrestling the ROH top prospect, candidate, whatever. Hashtag blessed in the world. The Mountain Man himself. I call him Mountain Yoda. You know what I'm saying? And some people say that he is the best unsigned guy on the indies right now, Jason Kincaid. People can actually watch that live on the Fight TV app. So, if you ain't got nothing to do, Zane, or you can, if y'all got nothing to do around 7:30, 8 o'clock, you can download the Fight TV app if you haven't already. Look for Mega Wrestling. Boom, there I am. Saturday, I will be Saturday I had to drive all the way to Williamston, New Jersey.
Time out, was that Mega Wrestling or Omega Wrestling?
Mega Wrestling, MEGA.
Okay, awesome. And is the Fight Network, is that FIGHT or is it FITE?
Yes, FITE TV.
Okay, awesome. Continue.
Yeah, and then I have to beeline to Williamston, New Jersey, for DAWG, Dog Wrestling and stuff. It's the Jimmy Clydesdale Memorial Tournament. It's the first actual tournament for Jimmy Clydesdale and his name and stuff. It's an 8-man tournament. Instead of calling everybody diamonds in the rough, they're calling us all, zirconiums in the rough, because a lot of the guys in the tournament, myself especially, are guys that a lot of the fans and stuff in New Jersey aren't used to seeing. Some of them they are, but the majority of the guys are guys the fans aren't used to seeing. Myself, I do know that my first round opponent will be Sean Donovan. I do know that, and I plan on beating him and going home, the winner of the Jimmy Clydesdale Memorial Tournament, showing all those Yankees and stuff up in Jersey what Southern Strong Style is. And then Sunday, speaking of Southern Strong Style, from New Jersey, I traveled 12, 13 hours all the way to Atlanta for AWE. Me and my buddy, tag team partner, me and Joe, we're taking on Chip Day and former NWA World Tag Team Champion Murder One. We're taking them on for the Georgia Crown Tag Team Champions, man. So
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, the stipulation is if we lose the tag team title match and stuff, then me and Joe are not allowed to wrestle as a tag team inside the entire state of Georgia ever again.
Oh my! So you can't wrestle as a tag team in Dalton, Georgia?
Nope. I don't think is there Dalton, Georgia? I know there's Dalton, Alabama.
I don't know. I thought that there was. Isn't that where was James Brown originally from? Isn't it Dalton, Georgia?
You have me. Don't give me the lines, man. I have no idea where James Brown's originally from.
Well, I'm trying to Google it right now. While I'm looking at that, looking at that, I want to introduce on the line with us our good friend and the Great Pacific Northwest referee, Sign Guy. Sign Guy, I knew you'd come. That's the fourth time I've used that. Welcome to the final deletion of the Undisputed Wrestling Show.
I classify myself as obsolete.
Obsolete!
Well, I want to first say I concur with Huck on Jason Kincaid. The man's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Okay. I guess Huck doesn't have any response to that.
Well, I thought that Kincaid, I thought he was going to say more about Kincaid, but I thought he was going to really try to put me over. But obviously, Sign Guy's not in the business of putting Huckabee over, but it's okay.
I'll put over that you made the PWI 500 this year, and you get to sign my copy of it.
I'll tell you what, look, like I told Drew and stuff, man, while beating up Jason Kincaid in the middle of the match, I'll see if I can get him to actually sign your magazine in the middle of the match.
That would be amazing.
Okay, to update our fans, Dalton, Georgia does exist. It is not the hometown of James Brown, but it is the birthplace of both Deborah Norville, who I watched earlier on Access TV or whatever show that she's on now, and it is also the birthplace of Donald Trump's second wife, Marla Maples. So, if you guys lose, then you're not allowed to tag there. Inside Edition, thank you, Huck. Inside Edition, Deborah Norville is on. So this is the last Undisputed Wrestling Show. Sign Guy, I've updated our listeners and let them know that starting on November 1st, we will be starting Wrestling Nerdcast. So now that the three primary people from Wrestling Nerdcast are on, we're gonna have fun with the show. it's going to be a lot of fun. We are still going to do interviews. Our first episode's going to have our guy Jameson, so it should be a lot of fun. But, we're going to evolve. We're going to do whatever we think is going to be best for the listeners. But the main thing is for us to have fun. We all are nerdy about pro wrestling, and we're nerdy about other things too. We're going to, just have fun with our guests, and we're going to give you some interesting things that you might not think about. So what you love about the Undisputed Wrestling Show, we're going to continue. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Sign Guy, what do you got coming up this weekend?
Well, this weekend, my only dream in life is coming true. I'm headed to Gouge. Gonna go to Gouge.
Yay!
So, I'm gonna beeline it from Sun Guy's Wrestling Show to the airport. QT's gonna meet me there to send a care package to Seymour Snot. Says help that poor man. Then I'm gonna arrive in North Carolina, do the Gouge show, back to the airport, come back, probably be back in time to do Turnbuckle, and then I have a business meeting with a promoter, which I can't disclose details at this time, but the people of Turnbuckle will be meeting with an undisclosed wrestling promoter.
Okay. So what are you going to be doing for Gouge?
As far as I know at this point, I am officially going to officiate the main event of the evening, a Four Corners trick or treat match between Seymour Snot and Jacob Hammermeyer.
Well, that sounds amazing. The last Four Corners gimmick match that I remember was Booker T versus maybe Scott Steiner. There was a coal miner's glove. There was a framed picture of Scott Hall. Can you guys think of any other Four Corners matches like that? Or is this going to be where you have to touch each corner like a chain match?
No, this is similar to what you're saying. I believe Gouge has ran this type of match before in the past, so it's not new for them, but it will be the first time it has been officiated by myself. And earlier today, Seymour Snot said we might just see the return of the Little Red Wagon that has come into play between Seymour Snot and Jacob Hammermeyer in past encounters.
Hey, Sign Guy?
Yes, Huck.
For the record, I'm going to help you out so you don't call him Jacob. Because I know Hammermeyer, the correct pronunciation is Jakob. He's German.
Well, yeah, but, I pronounce it the traditional American way. He can pick that up with me during instructions.
He probably will, too. I will say, man, you are in for one hell of a treat, referee in that match. Like I said, I wish I didn't have to be in Jersey, because I would definitely make a special trip to Dallas just to watch that.
Well, hopefully it won't be my only time there, but regardless of anything, it's my only dream in life, and it's coming true.
Well, and it's great that you get to be an official and not just a ticket taker or coat check or anything like that, because you have stated that you would do anything to be on a Gouge show.
That is true, but the powers that be there at the fine Gouge promotion officially made me the official for the official main event, so I will take that.
Well, that sounds fantastic. All right, guys. What do you guys want? Do you guys want to talk about some reminiscing things, or do you want to talk about current events?
Well, before we reminisce, I think that we definitely need to talk about the return of Goldberg to wrestling, not just to WWE, but to wrestling in general, and maybe not so much what it means, but how it makes you feel individually. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Zane, and I don't know if you've seen it yet, Sign Guy. I actually got a chance. Like I said, I was watching clips and stuff of Monday Night Raw, and that was one of the things I made sure I watched. So I have my own feelings about it. I just want to know what you guys thought if you've seen it.
I'll go first. I did see it. I thought it was great. He got a heck of a response. A couple things I'm confused about. This was all in conjunction with promoting the video game, but they made it pretty clear that you had to do a pre-order on the video game to be able to play as him, but yet he comes out after the video game is out. I didn't understand that. that was just weird to me. If they should have had him come out a couple weeks ago, to hype the video game even more, because you had to pre-order the game. You can't go to Walmart today and buy the game and be able to play as Goldberg. So that was weird to me. I'll tell you, I was a pretty big WCW fan. I met him once a long time ago. He was very nice to my brother and I. My brother talked to him about football for like an hour. I've always heard that he's very good with fans. I was taken aback when Michael Cole said several times last night that Goldberg was the best WCW champion of all time. That was just so weird to me. You got to give that to Flair, and somebody else in contention for that title would be Hogan, just because he held it for so long at the peak period for WCW. It was just weird. I enjoyed it. I'm also a little weird that we're all nostalgic for the WrestleMania 20 match that was an abomination, got booed out. But we're getting a rematch of it, 12, 13 years later. So, what were your thoughts, Sign Guy? Because we'll leave Huck for last since he brought it up.
Well, I enjoyed Goldberg to a point. He wasn't necessarily my favorite wrestler, but I know he had a huge mainstream appeal. Lots of people flocked to him. He sold tons of merchandise. I was in Key Arena the night after WrestleMania 19 when he debuted for WWE. The place came unglued when he came out at the end to face The Rock, but it seemed to me he fizzled really quickly after that. He just never really totally caught on with the WWE crowd, I think. I think they were really unsure if they wanted to push him all the way because he was on a short-term deal, and so I think that kind of hurt things for him. But obviously the fans nostalgic for Goldberg, and I also disagreed with them hyping he was the greatest WCW World Champion of all time. He won the title, still faced a lot of mid-card and prelim guys when he first won the title. Didn't really have a lot of top of the card feuds as the champion, and he only held it for about 5 months or so. So calling him the greatest WCW World Champion is a huge stretch. He had a token run with WWE, so not too much there, but I can understand why they're pushing him that hard, because I think nostalgia is going to be his selling point. So I can definitely see why they want to make the fans believe he was more than he was, because they're going to be pulling that nostalgia card really heavily the rest of the time he's with the company, which I'm guessing won't be very long.
All right, Huck, start up. What are your thoughts?
So first of all, I will say that watching his entrance, man, was like 90. I was like 96, 97 all over again. I was like 16, 17 years old, all over again. Sangat can attest that maybe not in the ring, definitely not in the ring, but backstage, I have been called Goldberg. More like every week I get called Goldberg. One of my pre-match rituals and stuff is, I get to a corner or whatever, I say a prayer, and then I bang my head against something very hard, like 5 or 6 times. And I actually got that from Goldberg. I don't know if you guys remember, he'd be in the dressing room and you could hear him pounding his head against the door or whatever, and then he'd open the door and walk to the ring and stuff. So I kind of got that pre-match ritual from Goldberg. For me, watching him, in my opinion, and then once again, this is just my opinion, I think that Goldberg has the most badass entrance in all of professional wrestling, in the history of professional wrestling. From the music that they use and stuff to the fact that they actually have a continuous camera on him from the minute he leaves the locker room or his dressing room till the minute he gets to Gorilla, and then they cut away to him coming to the entrance. just screams total badass. It gives you like a big fight feel, whether he's cutting a promo or whether he's doing a match. And then his pyro, in my opinion, it's probably the best pyro in professional wrestling. Also, the way he just stands in the middle of it, and of course, it has to be hot. It has to be burning him and stuff. And then, he blows the smoke out, and then all of a sudden, here comes the explosions, whatever. Watching Goldberg coming to the ring, made me such a fan all over again. I have no idea what they're going to do with him, but I love the fact that, he's walking backstage and you see all the boys in the back clapping and stuff and cheering for him and stuff, and everybody just kind of lined up looking at him and everything, and he's like completely 100% focused and intense and stuff all the way to the ring. Now, his promo could have used work. I will say his promo left a lot to be desired. But it's Goldberg. He doesn't have to really be that good of a talker as long as he produces, physically in the ring and stuff. Like you guys, I didn't like the fact that Michael Cole tried to put him over way too much. I think that Goldberg's accomplishment speaks for itself. They already, lied about his streak, where they had him like 3,000-0 or whatever before he finally lost to Kevin Nash. There's no need to really hype him up and say he's the greatest champion ever. Say he's probably one of the most dominant champions, one of the most dominant WCW superstars ever, whatever the case may be. One of the strongest. We've seen, with the exception, I think, of John Cena, nobody else was doing strength, just feats of strength like Goldberg was, given, Hugh Morris and the Big Show jackhammers and stuff. Nobody else could do something like that. So I think they should have put that over way more than the fact that he was the greatest champion ever. But I love it. I love the fact, not just for nostalgia reasons, but I love the fact to see him actually come back to wrestling and get the response that he got from the wrestling fans. Like you said, Zane, his match with Brock Lesnar and stuff at WrestleMania was probably the worst WrestleMania match ever. The fans booed it from the beginning to the end, and the only reason why there was a pop is because Stone Cold gave both of them stunners and stuff. I think that was the only reason why there was a pop in that match whatsoever. So it's really good to see the reaction that he got. I think that the fans nowadays, with all the sports entertainment and a lot of the floppy wrestlers and stuff, I think a lot of the wrestling fans our age really enjoy seeing guys that we grew up watching coming back and coming back and actually being competitive. So I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to see what happens next Monday. And more than that, I can't wait to see what happens in his match with Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
One question for you, Huck, real quick. I read this somewhere online, and it kind of hit me and made me stop to think. Someone said that this would be the last great return because there's not really anyone of his marketability left that realistically could come into the company and garner that type of response. Would you agree with that?
And definitely not. The biggest return to wrestling will probably never happen. But if it does happen, trust and believe that you'll see ratings out of the stratosphere. If CM Punk ever returns back to wrestling, I think that would be the big. I guarantee if they promoted it and it wasn't a surprise or whatever, like they try to make a lot of things and stuff. But if it gets leaked that CM Punk is returning back to WWE, that would probably be the biggest return in the history of this business.
What do you think, Zane? You think that this will be the biggest return and there's not really going to be the same nostalgia factor for anyone on the level of what Goldberg has?
Yeah, CM Punk would be good. Killer Kev is chiming in on our chat with the Hardy Boys.